Crean had 2 players in the top 5 in the NBA draft and couldn't get past the Sweet 16. He didn't know how to attack a zone.
OG had a torn ACL.
That doesn't. I don't see the relevance there. I really don't. It's like, all right, Ben Howland at UCLA had about 4 like 10-year NBA vets on his team, and they didn't win a national title. And he got fired eventually. But that's more so because of the guys he brought in after that, right? It wasn't necessarily, oh, he had one bad year, let's fire him. It was more so like he just had a really bad. He went 15-7. Like that's what happened, right? He got fired, deservedly so. It wasn't because he lost in the Sweet 16. And I know you guys are going to say, he had a really bad year the year before. OG Anunoby got hurt the whole year. Like that was one of his best NBA players.
That team beat UNC that year, and that team beat Kansas.
Yeah.
Who were both top 5.
And people are going to tell me he sucks, right? Like it's.
And then OG tore his ACL, and then they didn't
know how to attack his zone because he wasn't able to beat probably the best Jim Boeheim defensively team there ever was, with Rakeem Christmas and Michael Carter-Williams and Josh Proche. Like those guys were sick. Like those guys were nasty. Like those guys were running through everyone. I don't know. It's like you can't just pick one game and be the reason why they fired. You got to take the full scope. He took an Indiana program that was coming back from the dead. We're talking like 8. I mean, everyone knows this, like 10 wins in 3 years because of the sanctions, shit like that. And, he brings them all the way up to number 1 in the country, number 1 seed. And maybe he didn't get the job done, but like he did it. Like he did the ultimate rebuild. And then they were just going to we didn't make it past the Sweet 16. I promise you, keep them a couple of years. Maybe they break through, go to a Final Four. But we're here now, and what's done is done, and it's time to move forward. I don't try living in the past.
No, I think we're in a great spot too.
Yeah, I think we're in a great spot. But who's to say? Give Crean a couple more years. Maybe one of those teams breaks through.
Well, I think this segues perfectly.
Sometimes the ball just doesn't fall. Like what if if the shots were falling against Syracuse, maybe he goes all the way. Did Crean buy you pizza when you was in line? Actually, my freshman year was the Archie Miller freshman year. Actually.
Yeah, we didn't see Crean.
I didn't see Crean.
Gone before we got there. Actually,
I saw afar from a basketball fan, and I was shocked when they fired absolutely shocked. I was like, whoa, why would they do that? That's crazy. They're number 1 in the country 2 years ago, and they fired him. Like that was just insane to me. Just as a basketball fan.
My first Indiana basketball game was the Thomas Bryant double foul game. Jesus Christ, Brad! You want to just?
Yeah, I'm going on a tangent because it's like I forgot what I was going to say. Keep going.
I was going to say my first Indiana basketball game was the Thomas Bryant double foul game, and so I did watch Coach Crean coach a game, but no, we weren't on campus for that. No, we saw Archie Miller. So that kind of gives the point of reference of why like we didn't really understand the significance of Randy Whitman, because it's like you have to understand what Indiana basketball looked like when we showed up, and like that was our framing of it. It's like, cool, here's Archie Miller, like, and he pushed everybody away from the program. So it was like, if you look at Mike Woodson's tenure from that lens, and it's like, I don't want to talk about that though. I want to talk about Coach Darren DeVries.
I remember watching Indiana get blown out by Fort Wayne and
I want to talk about Darren DeVries, and DeVries met with Rick Bozich, and in that he had it was like 5 questions about Indiana's upcoming season, and basically the last question was like, the last 2 coaches got fired for not being able to meet expectations. Like, do you feel like you'll be able to handle the fan pressure? And he said, my expectations are high myself. Like I'm not worried about what the fans like. I want to win. Like the guys in this room want to win. I thought that was just the perfect response. And like it's funny. It's like juxtapose him and Cignetti, and like you look at what the Indiana football fan base needed, and they needed Kurt Cignetti. The Indiana basketball fan base needs Darren DeVries, who's just going to do the right thing over and over again, and he's almost a little bit boring. And it's just like the more time you spend with them, like the more you like them.
The older fans know what the standard is. What is the standard? Someone explain it to me.
I mean, that's kind of what my little tangent was.
How many times
Archie
do I have
Miller,
to
Mike
say,
Woods, we don't know.
like, what is the stand? Like, okay, is the standard making 3 tournaments in 8 years? Is the standard making 4 Sweet 16s in 25 years, basically since Bob Knight? Like, what is the standard, guys? Like, the standard is gone. It's time to start fresh. It's time to stop living in the past. It's time to accept what it is and just try to make the tournament every year, and then maybe you go on a run. Yeah, banners are the stand. There's only one winner every year, and it can't be Indiana every year. So if that's how you're going to judge
that's actually, Brad,
I get it.
That's not true.
Huh?
It can be Indiana every year.
It literally can't. It can't be Indiana every year. Look at UConn last year. I mean, they had a great group of 2 teams that went back to back, and that was awesome. Klingon, all those guys, Sonogo, Hawkins, and I'm forgetting one of the guys. Newton was really good. Tristan Newton. I mean, those guys were good, and they got it done, and they did their job. Who's to say, yeah, the banners are the standard, but like, it takes a special group to finally break through and get there. And it might be loser talk, but like, I feel like the continuity of things is what's going to get you there, right? Like, it wasn't done overnight. Like, Hurley had that back-to-back year, and it could be 10 years before he breaks that again, right? Like, he might not go to another Final Four for another, 5 years. Does that mean you're going to fire Dan Hurley because the standard is Final Fours every year? Is that what that means? Like, that, I'm just trying to understand, like, obviously the standard is winning championships. You can't win championships if you fire your coach every 4 years or 6 years for Tom Crean. You gave him about 6 or 7. We gave him 6 or 7. It's like the standard, I just think the standard is winning championships and competing for championships. You can't go to compete for championships if you're not going to the tournament. And you can't go to the tournament if you're firing your coach every 4 years. You got to rebuild, start from scratch. That's my point.
I want to acknowledge Anthony Leal is the GOAT, who said
Cam Spencer.
Cam Spencer's
a dog. Cam Spencer is a dog, NBA player.
Shout out to Anthony Leal is the GOAT. Anthony Leal is the GOAT. PK says, look at IU football. We are thinking we can make a run every year. That is what's missing in IU basketball. The difference between Indiana football and Indiana basketball is Indiana football is like, we can make the playoff. Like, let's go try and win a national championship. Like, Indiana basketball is like, we're going to win the national championship. It's not, let's make the Sweet 16. Let's make
but like, here's what I'm saying.
Second weekend of the tournament.
Here's what I'm saying.
Let's make
IU, when they fired, okay, I'm just going back to Tom Crean. Like, yes, Woodson and Archie Miller, that was the fallout of them, what I think, wrongly firing Tom Crean. Wrongly. Like, incorrect decision. Because he was in the, John just said, Knight had a cycle where he was in the running every 5 years. Tom Crean had a 3-year stretch where he was in the running. Maybe didn't, they went to the Sweet 16 like once, but like, that's just what happens in the tournament. It's a tournament made up of really good teams that probably have other NBA players too. And the fact that, you think you can go in and, that doesn't mean you're out of the running just because you get knocked out early in the tournament. I'd say going to the tournament is you in the running. Like, if you're getting top 5 seeds, that's you're in the running. Like that's what it is. Like, okay, maybe they didn't get it done. It's a basketball game. The ball didn't fall in the hoop that day. Like, it is what it is. They're kids, right? Like, I still think the Tom Crean firing was ridiculous in hindsight. They should have given him at least 2 more years.
I didn't have 10 minutes on Tom Crean on today's show notes. I got to be honest.
No, it wasn't.
I'm just saying. No, I'm saying, like, we've had like a nice, like, mini Indiana basketball history.
Yeah, I think they say he couldn't attack his own because of one game against Syracuse. I'm sure there's plenty of other games where he attacked his own just fine, but they didn't.
Anthony Leal's the GOAT must be reading my mind. I was going to Sammy Jackson next. Brad, You reached out specifically to tell me you wanted to talk about Sammy Jackson. I said, runway's yours, my friend. It's so, especially basketball recruiting. There's so many of these guys, and this staff has done an unbelievable job. Like Darren DeVries, say whatever you will about him, and like whether or not if he succeeds in year one, what happens. But like the one thing the guy is not is a ghost. Like he is around. He is at all the basketball tournaments in Indiana and around the state and all the high school stuff and the circuits. And like that dude's out there recruiting. Those dudes are recruiting their asses off. And that's another parallel you're seeing from the like February-esque of last year's Kurt Signetti's Hoosiers, where it's like they're making a lot of really good noise on the recruiting trail. Like that's what's happening with Indiana basketball right now. So Sammy Jackson, Brad.
Sorry. Sammy Jackson crunched some film right before this this episode dropped because he's committing tomorrow, and it's between Indiana. He's a Philadelphia kid, so it's between Indiana, Texas, St. Joe's, the hometown team, and then VCU. VCU's in the running. Very cool for them. He's a 4-star, 6'7", listed as a small forward. Watching the film, definitely more of a shooting guard, just pure score. 6'7", does a lot with the ball in his hands. Kind of runs, at times point, but just very, very ball centric. Very just will be a leading scorer on the team at the college level. Very, very talented shooter. Not gonna at 6'7", not gonna like thrill you with his athleticism. Who knows what the weight room does for him? But at this point, like I don't really see him, even though he's 6'7", like being able to guard at the 4 position or anything like that. He's barely even a 3. He's more of a 2 to me. But a very talented 2 at that, and just a very natural scorer, and just very heavy ball heavy type player who can do a lot with it offensively. Didn't really see him too much on defense, but I imagine knowing Darian DeVries, he's probably seen enough of him on defense to press on him this hard, or at least thinks he can instill it in him, because he's not like the craziest athlete, but he can definitely guard. He can shuffle his feet, right? He's not going to like jump out the gym, but he can probably guard. 6'7", lanky. That's scary at 2 or 3 at the college level. I will say this. I think there's a very high likelihood he commits to Texas tomorrow. I think there's a very high chance. I think he's visiting there tomorrow, actually.
Wait, you texted me and wanted a runway for Sammy Jackson to just say you think he's going to Texas?
Yeah, but I hope we get him. I think that'd be awesome. Yeah. But I think it's very high likely he goes to Texas after kind of deep diving into it, because he is visiting there tomorrow, according to 24/7. I don't know how accurate that is, but yeah, his visit's June 24th, and his commitment date is June 24th. So I'm gonna take an educated guess and say he's gonna go to Texas, but it'd be a huge get for D-Rock this early if he's able to get a player like that. He's a bona fide scorer, really good on the offensive end, very good at finding his spots and just really pulling up. He shoots it about at his head, which is kind of how I don't know. I don't know how I shoot it, to be honest. I haven't watched myself shoot, but he shoots it a little low from what I see, but it goes in. He's a very talented scorer and really gets to his spots. His AAU team basically, as being a high level recruit, they run plays for him. They run the offense through him, and would be very exciting. I think he's a very talented shooter and scorer. Can score in a variety of different ways, whether it's in transition, ISO, pick and pop, just catch and shoot. He can really score in a variety of ways, which is exciting. But yeah, not like the craziest athlete of all time. But yeah, would be an awesome get for D-Rock.
Shout out to Jackson Johnson, who's dropping all the links in the chat. I'll post those when we close the show. But Jackson Johnson's the man. John says Jackson Johnson, Indiana will win a natty before an SEC team will. And Anthony Leals the GOAT makes a good point. Brad, isn't today June 24th?
Wait, what is PK saying? No, he didn't. Wait, what'd you say?
Isn't today June 24th?
Yeah, so I guess he's visiting Texas right now. He's making his commitment tomorrow. So
I have to say, I would
be the decision the kid makes,
I would be a little surprised if we
armchair athlete, brother.
Oh, Goon, before you respond to that, I would just say, given how many times he's appeared organically across my timeline, when I haven't been going out and looking for it, I would be a little surprised if we didn't end up with him.
Sammy Jackson?
Hmm?
Yeah. Well, he's visiting Texas, so it's probably
I haven't done much reading up on him. Like, I don't know anything about his recruitment, so like take that with a grain of salt.
I'll just say Texas probably has the edge because he's visiting there right now, and he's coming tomorrow. So we'll see.
Lamar Wilkerson visited Kentucky, and then immediately left and committed to Indiana.
D-Rock has his magic. If we get him, it'd be a huge get because he's a really good scorer, and like I'm not ruling it out. I just said there's a very high likelihood he commits to Texas tomorrow. It's also, he could also commit to Indiana. I don't think, don't sleep on St. Joe's being the hometown school. It's just, I mean, if he goes to VCU, that'd be the ultimate curveball.
Yeah, no, St. Joe's would be the ultimate curveball. That's not even St. John's.
St. Joe's, yeah.
St. Joe's in Philly.
Yeah.
Cool school. Beautiful.
Delonte West. Delonte West went to St. Joe's back in the day. Who was his teammate? He had like another NBA teammate. Like they were sick way back in the day. Hold
on. SoCal Hot Sauce says, keep up the good work, boys. Happy Crochet Day. Happy Crochet Day to you as well. Can the basketball team make a similar leap that the football team has made last year? In short, I think yes. Very
they can make the playoffs. Yeah, I'd say that's a similar leap. Right?
I think they could be. I really think they could be a 4 or 5 seed, and we'll see. I don't know. Maybe that's just wishful thinking, and maybe I'm just delusional. But I think at the very least, I think they're a tournament team. So
I've done the same thing the past 2 years where I thought they're going to be 4 or 5 seeds, and
just talk yourself into something.
It hasn't happened. So I just hope they really make the tournament,
and then
it'd be awesome. And then obviously we're dancing, and then that should be, maybe they make a run. Maybe they go to the Final Four. Maybe they get hot. They're a really good shooting team. Like the goal should be. I hope those last 25 years have been I don't know what that means. But yeah, I just hope Indiana makes the tournament, and that gives them a shot to win the championship. It just really does. And, I
100% agree with.
By the way, Tom Crean in his last 6 seasons was a top 5 seed 3 times. So, I mean, he was in the running enough considering what went down. But I guess maybe there was a downward spiral somewhat, and I still think the firing was a little bit rash.
10 minutes of Tom Crean. I didn't have it today.
Considering what happened to OG Anunoby. Because if they have OG Anunoby, they don't go 18-16. They probably get 25 wins, and they probably get another top 6 seed in the tournament. So, like, that would have made it 4 out of 6 years, top 6 seeds in the tournament. But, who's to say? It's all hypotheticals at this point, and that was almost 8 years ago now. So, doesn't really matter. Tom Crean sucks, I guess, and I'm wrong, and I'm an idiot, and I don't know anything I'm talking about. So
I can't believe you're still talking about him.
Because it goes against my my code, Indiana's built for the tournament, not the Big Ten. I agree with that. They're a really good shooting team, and they'll probably have to, they're kind of zigging where the Big Ten's zagging right now, and I think that could work for them, could not. We'll just see how it goes. Like, 3's bigger than 2. It's almost like kind of a fun experiment to see if this type of team can work in the Big Ten. It almost was good enough to work in the Big 12, where you could even argue, it's not like the Big Ten is any more, like, people are going to hate me for this, but it's not like the Big Ten is any more physical than, the Big 12 and the SEC. It's really not.
I actually disagree. I think the way that they whistle in the Big Ten,
but the way they whistle, yeah, I mean,
I think it dramatically impacts the way the Big
I was
Ten
talking like the athletes
in the tournament.
Like athlete.
No, I mean
like
no, but it's different. It's the style of basketball. No, it's the Big Ten is. I wouldn't say. No, actually, I would. I would say prehistoric. And then you look at what happens to all those teams in the tournament, and they all look like deer in the headlights when it's not like when you can't just murder people as they go to the basket.
Yeah.
Which, like, listen, I don't hate that style of basketball. Like, I enjoy, like, like it's Big Ten basketball. Like, I enjoy it, but it's just, I do think that's like a direct correlation to the struggles in the tournament recently. And I think that's another reason why, like, to that point, I think this Indiana team to defend the perimeter, move the ball, and shoot with efficiency from the outside, sets you up really well for March. Can you get there?
Yeah. Yeah. And John says Knight used to get bounced in the first round, but we went to the tournament thinking Final Four every year. My point is, stop saying the reason why Tom Crean got fired is because he couldn't get it done in the tournament. I think that's a dumb reason to fire a coach. That's kind of where this whole rant started from. I don't think tournament success should determine your standing as a head coach. You get to the tournament every year. You have a job for life, my opinion. Job, as long as you keep going to the tournament, which I guess Tom Allen didn't do because OG Anunoby got hurt.
Tom Crean.
Yeah, Tom Crean. Who did I say? OG.
Tom Allen.
Tom Allen. Classic.
Do you have
definitely should have fired Tom Allen for sure.
Do you have a closing thought, Brad, or anything final?
Cover everything you want to talk about today? Because I kind of hijacked the show.
No, we got everything. My plan was to wind you up and let you go. So, other than trying to get my Thomas Bryant double foul point in, which I definitely could have waited. It was great. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
I do have a closing thought here, though.
Yeah, you want to go? I'll end it. I'll come up with my closing thought, which will probably have to do with Tom Crean, it'll be Indiana basketball related, not necessarily Tom Crean.
I'm gonna shout out Andrew Hillsman, IU27. He does IU sports media, play-by-play for WIUX and Big Ten Plus. He was out covering the Keene Swamp Beasts, I guess some summer ball team in New Hampshire. He's doing his reporting, gets hit by a ball in the middle of his reporting, wears it like it's nothing, shakes it off, continues the rest of his report like nothing happened. That's just being a Hoosier. That's just being on your feet, staying in the moment, not being rattled, playing with toughness. It was good stuff. He shouted out Jeremy Gray, also shouted out Trisha Whitaker. Credited their classes with being able to think on his feet like that. And I just thought that was a cool moment for a Hoosier to stay in the pocket like that and do his thing. So shout out to Andrew.
Perfect. All right. My closing thought. The standard is competing for national titles. Obviously, we all know it doesn't mean you can win the national title every year. How do you win the national title? You go to the tournament every year, if not consistently. Obviously, missing the tournament is a bad look and probably knock your standing in terms of your job security. I just think, we need to be accountable about how we treat our players and our coaches when shit hits the fan. And, maybe the season's not going according to plan. Let's not freak out. It's a long season, 30-game season. A lot of things can change over the course of, January, February, March. So I just think, I know what the standards are. I understand, I was raised, loving a basketball program that it has more banners than Indiana does, just for the record. So I know what the standards are.
No, you don't got to go there.
I will, because I don't think they're telling me to raise my standards. So I will go there, actually. I think it comes with, just having, obviously, your team makes the tournament. You should be excited that your team is going to win the tournament, right? And I think Tom Crean had them the tournament should be given yeah, obviously that's how you have a job, right? It's not like a hope and prayer. I don't think it was a hope and prayer with Tom Crean. I think he was on the precipice of making 4 tournaments in 6 years, coming off basically a death penalty from the NCAA from the Kelvin Sampson fiasco. And I just don't think he got enough. I don't think he got enough leeway. But yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was the right call. But
it all comes back to Indiana, Brad.
But then you look at the next 8 years and makes you think a little bit. Makes you think just a little bit. Just makes you think. Like what?
15 minutes on Tom Crean on this week's episode of Indiana Hoosiers Live. Yeah, appreciate everybody hanging out with us. You can follow us. You can follow us here. The link's right here on Twitter at IndianaVOCFB, on Instagram at IndianaVOCFB. I honestly forgot we were on TikTok too, to be honest. We're on TikTok, IndianaVOCFB. You can follow me. You can follow me at Alec Keyser. You can follow Brad at Bradley_Loomis8. You can follow the Sigs Inside account at Sigs Inside Pod, posting memes and videos and God knows what from that account. But be on the lookout for the videos that drop throughout the week. And yeah, appreciate everybody hanging out. Mm-hmm. Again, I probably should be saying this like at the beginning of the show, but we have a subscriber goal. We're chasing 500 subs by the beginning of the season. I think we're going to be able to get there and do it quickly. But yeah, again, appreciate everybody. Like, comment, subscribe, share, tell a friend. Jackson Johnson says, tell the Kroger cashier. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. See you guys next week.
Love talking hoops with you guys. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate y'all.
You see, they did, and they got away with it. That's why I like cheating. Cheating works.
And now they give money to Cal.
Oh, man. Oh. Still won.